Good evening slash afternoon. Good evening slash night, everybody, and welcome back to LIL Trin. We have a voice. The reason I made this podcast is to show and tell youth that they are not overlooked and they should not be overlooked, because adults think that kids are too young to do things. Well, some things, and so I'm just trying to prove that kids can do whatever they put their mind to. So, the topic for tonight is the green and red flags warning signs of like relationships and friendships and stuff. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you my co-host, my uncle, and my mentor, Mr. Sean A. White.
Blessing evening, everyone. How's everybody doing out there in TV world? This is going to be a fun and exciting podcast interview, and we have someone. I believe she's down here in the bottom. That she is truly making a huge, uh, major headways in her area and respective regions. I mean, she is a celebrity in her own right. She is someone I had the privilege of being on my show, and I tell you, like, we're still getting like plays left and right, and it is like one of the most requested videos. So if I were you, I will really get a pen and a piece of paper. This is your first time. I will really start taking down notes. I would definitely be engaging, asking questions, because this is going to be an exclusive interview. And I'm just excited just to hear more about this young lady down here in the bottom. So, LIL Trin, my mentee, I'll let you take her away and introduce our guest.
So I would like you guys to help me welcome Miss Francesca Nunez.
Hello.
This young lady is also my mentor as well. We met at a photo shoot with her grandson and stayed connected ever since. She is also the voice for No Longer Silent and so much more. The lovely Miss Francesca Nunez.
Hey. Welcome.
Thank you with that awesome intro from both of you, Sean A. White. Thank you so much. And yes, that interview was like off the charts. And Trinity, what else can I say about you? I mean, the list will go on and on and on. She's absolutely right. We met at a photo shoot and it was just inseparable, a bond, unforgettable. A 9-year-old and me. So we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So I'm just honored to be here on tonight to be her guest. And yes, we're going to have a lot of fun and it's going to be very, very educational.
Yes. So, first question. Well, I have a few questions. First question is, please introduce yourself and tell us about what you do, what all you do.
Okay, so my name is Francisca Nunez. I am 51 years old. I have 2 adult boys and an adult daughter. I am a proud grandma of 2 beautiful grandsons and a wonderful granddaughter. I am a nurse with the seniors. That's the job that is my calling. I've been doing it for over 25 years. And my journey on to No Longer Silent was 2 years ago, where I run the podcast educating people, me being a survivor myself. And I am a domestic violence coach and also a bullying coach and life coach. And all my life was to educate me. But I don't define myself as titles. I define myself that whatever I learn, I just want to educate people and just keep learning new things to help everyone, because domestic violence is not just domestic violence, is linked to drug addiction, alcohol, you name it, human trafficking. So I'm here for it. And I just use a little model that I don't look like what I went through. So that's one of the things that when I mention domestic violence and I say I'm a survivor, they be like, but you don't look. I'm like, what is somebody supposed to look? Sometimes they don't speak. So I speak for the voiceless because I could have been one of those ladies and I'm not. So on tonight, I just hope anyone takes this informative education of the do's and don'ts of a relationship because love is not supposed to hurt.
1,000%, 1,000%. And what well said about that too. I'm just curious here, in your definition, what would you consider um domestic violence, if you will, or some of the characteristics? Because I think that when people hear that, they automatically assume it may be just like a physical type of ordeal. But if I'm not mistaken, based upon our last show, you mentioned it has many different forms. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's not only physical, it can be verbal, it can be emotional. Those are the three characteristics because a lot of times it's also people just when they you're right, when they say domestic violence, oh, it's just physical. But no, there's a lot that goes into domestic violence. You have alcoholism, it can start a fight, verbal and physical. Um, al- Drug addiction also, pertains to that. Mental health also pertains to that. So it's just not physical. It's like a whole world out there when they hear domestic violence.
Interesting. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Trinity,
Welcome.
I think that you wanted to ask our guest a question.
Um, yes. What are some of the red and green flags for youth and everyone so they can understand?
Ooh,
Good question.
great question.
Very. Yeah. I'll start with the red flags. And I'm gonna specify the use. The red flags would be if you're in a relationship and the boyfriend starts telling you what to wear, who not to hang around with, tries to basically isolate you and keep him to himself. Those are red flags right there. That's a no. If he met you from the beginning that you had a social life, that you was with friends, that should not bother him because that's not taking you from him because he can also associate along with you because it's not like you leaving your boyfriend out of anything. If he starts telling you, oh, you're wearing revealing clothes, like a small blouse with no sleeves, a skirt above your knees, and he starts telling you what to wear to make him feel happy, that's also like a red flag. He shouldn't tell you who not to be around with. He shouldn't tell you what to wear, and basically isolate you from also family. I have to include sometimes if you spend time with family, he'll be like, oh, I want you to spend time with me. I don't want you with your family. You don't love me. Those are red flags. Those are the excuses that they'll start to use. And that's something you have to pick up and don't define it as love. Sorry, because I have mentor teenagers. Oh, he loves me. He cares for me. I have to make him happy. No, you have to make yourself happy. And if he met you with that environment, he has to accept you as you are. So those are red flags.
Nice.
And for a question or
Um, the green
continue
flag.
with the green? All right,
Yeah.
the
Yes,
green
please.
flags.
Please.
Good one. The green flags. A healthy relationship when the individual accepts you for who you are, when he starts complimenting, you look beautiful. I like the clothes you're wearing. Engaging with your friends. Oh, I love Susan, Mary. And he continues your social status in a healthy way where it doesn't It's not a control factor. It's more of the green flag is more of accepting around your
Hmm.
family, friends, functions, what you wear, who you speak to. He shouldn't, the green flags are much easier because there's no control involved. He's compliance to your surroundings. So green flags are good when he doesn't stop you from being you.
He sounds more so of like being your soulmate then, or an
Exactly.
ideal partner. Cool.
Partner.
Gotcha. Good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, Trinity, before you ask the next question, for all those that's tuning in, I just want to say hello as far as to a few people, and I definitely want to acknowledge them as well. We have James Bryant, that's tuning in. So welcome, welcome, James. By the way, we definitely do appreciate you. There was a few others in which I want to make sure that we are address them correctly. So, Trinity, you can go ahead and move forward. I'm going to go back and try to locate them, but you can continue, ma'am.
By the way, this is a joke. Um, I'm not seeing any very much comments. I'm not seeing a lot of comments.
So you know what that means, guys? Please comment, like, and share this out. Please, please.
Yeah. And I also have a bonus question.
I'm ready for you.
What would you call a yellow flag?
A yellow flag.
Wow.
Yeah, good one too. That would be in between. That would be in between. Yeah, I would say that would be in between. Yellow flag would be to me is that if you and that's a good question. No one ever asked me that, and I'm gonna answer it. It's gonna blow your mind. If you notice when you're driving how the traffic light is red, you stop, green
Hmm.
is go, and slow is yellow.
Correct.
So when you're getting involved in a relationship, you got to take it nice and slow. So I'm glad you asked me that question because that's when you have to see, and I'm going to engage with pairing it up with red flags. You get to know the individual, his surroundings, his family, his friends, so you know who you're getting involved with. Because the yellow flag would be like slow down. If you see something that's going to the left, you have every opportunity to walk away and not stay in that relationship. That's when everything starts evolving. So I'm glad you mentioned that the yellow flag because it's like basically slow down and
Hold up,
observe.
hold up. I have to take notes. I have
That's
to be
awesome.
honest, no one ever asked me that question, but I'm glad it was brought up on tonight.
I love, I love, I love questions that people normally don't ask me because it lets me know like they're really engaged and they're paying attention. And so for me, I have to sit there and be like, you know what? That's a good question. Let me think about that. I love that though. Go ahead, man. The floor is all yours.
Okay. What can you say to parents or guardians, or family and friends, to look out for?
Ooh, you're throwing them hard tonight, aren't you? Very good question, too. Very informative, also. So, what can I say as a parent? Well, me being a parent, you just got to look out for certain signs. If your daughter or your son is in a relationship and they were dressing some type of way before and you see something different, I would say question it. Um, Question it. Don't let it slip because sometimes under the clothing they can be hiding marks that we don't see
Hmm.
and they won't say because of shame or how we're going to react. So you have to monitor their behavior, if they're in a relationship. So as parents, we have to be mindful and look out for that. Because sometimes when it comes to the girl, she will not say anything because she probably don't think she has that trust or that bond, or immediately parents will react and say, well, I want you to leave them. And that's where that love comes in, that she thinks love is portrayed in a verbal and physical way, and it's not that. If they're not educated in that field to know that love is not supposed to hurt.
Right.
As for friends, you wanted to say something? As for friends, um keep your circles small. They should be also observant. Sometimes there's the saying, see something, say something. It can be the opposite. They might not want to say anything, not to get involved because of the repercussion. They might get like, mind your business.
Right.
I'm not telling you anything. Don't ask me anything. But as friends, push it to also because there could be signs and concern, and before anything goes to the left, like death or anything, or hospitalization, friends should be looking out for that. As family as a whole, I would say, some people will see something other than the parents, the aunt, the grandmother, and they too should get involved when nothing is said to the parents. Oh, Susan, I just noticed, where's that little mark? She chooses not to say nothing. I would still push the subject and have an open communication, because there are signs. They are hidden. We all been teenagers. We'll wear long sweaters because we don't want mom and dad to see. I don't want them to question me. It's me. Teenagers have that mindset. They're going to do what they're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want no one in their privacy, in their business. But we brought them into the world, so it is our business. You touch my child, there is a problem. I have to discuss it. So very good question on tonight, because sometimes we turn a blind eye when we see certain things and don't address it.
That's true. So I guess I have a question, right? Because I know as we become adults, especially too, if you had a mother and father, like say for instance, maybe very dominant or overbearing, and obviously when we become adults and we have kids of our own, we don't want to be that way, right? Because we know as far as on how it feels, so we don't want to push that as far as on our kids, so to speak. So I guess my question is, in regards to that, and you're 1,000% correct. I guess then how do you balance from not being overbearing, but at the same time, though, you still have to do your due diligence and you still have to be a parent. So how do you balance that? Because with so much distractions that's going on, so much that's happening, especially to the youth nowadays, how do you balance that? Because I see like a lot of parents, they either one way or the other way, but I know it has to be a balance, and which is so tough. How do you do that in your expert opinion for that?
Well, good question too. That one's very good. No matter, and I'm going to answer it with so much honesty, no matter what we're going through in life, I know we live a stressful life where both parents are working. That one can be working in the morning, and the mom comes, dad is working all day in the morning, comes in the afternoon, mom can be in the afternoon. But we still have to address it, because at the end of the day, there's going to come a time that we're going to come together. You might see that your daughter's sitting at the dining room table and she used to speak to you guys, and she's eating her food and she's quiet. You have to question that. And it can be overbearing. Like I said, it can be overbearing when you're asking the same question over, and will say she got up from the dining room table and proceeded to go to the room. As a mother, we have to be, mother, father, we have to be very persistent, because it's our child.
Mhm.
Domestic can go even further. If we don't address it, um she or he can take their lives from the situation that they're in. And that's scary, because it has happened. If you don't ask, they'll go to that extreme, like, why me? I'm going through this, I don't know what to say, I'm embarrassed. So we as parents, no matter how overbearing it can be or frustrating from our child, ask. If you see something, say something, address it. Absolutely address it. So no matter what we're going through in life, we have to absolutely be mindful and say, I see this. I have to address it to her, whether she likes it or not, and whether she doesn't want to hear it. But do it with a lot of compassion, do it with a lot of patience, and a lot of loving care, not aggressive. Aggression is not going to get you anywhere. But just say, listen, sweetheart, I just, noticed there's a little bruise. I noticed that you're very quiet. You're not talking. You're like isolated. Can we just talk? If you go with aggression, I'm quite sure you're not going to get a response. But if you
Right.
go with loving care, I'm quite sure you'll get a long way.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. I was just reading here from our audience, and they got some great questions, by the way, especially Mandy and James. So, ladies first, of course. I want to start off with Mandy's question for you, Francisca. What would you say to a young person in an abusive relationship who would like to leave but don't know how to ask for help? Oh, that is good.
Oh, that's good.
That
That's
is good.
my aunt.
That's a good one. Okay, so they're in a relationship and can't um and don't know how to get out of the relationship. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, if she wants to get out of the relationship, of course she can. There's not a can't. Um there is other people she can go to, a school counselor, guidance counselor, and say, listen, this is what's happening to me. I don't want to be with this person because they're verbally or physical abusive. I didn't tell my parents, but they want to go to them, but I do want to leave the relationship because it's bad. But there's another outlet if you don't want to go to your family. There are other resources out of the home. Guidance counsel is confidentiality, and speaking to the youth, it can go to the parents without the child knowing what's going on, and they can do like a little intervention. So
Mm,
absolutely, the youth can get out of the relationship with another source out of the home. So she can see the guidance counselor, and then they take it from there how to remove herself from that situation, which is a win-win.
most certainly. Most certainly. Before I address James' question, I'm sorry, Trinity. Go ahead.
Um, well, I saw a question off my mom's phone. Said, can that go for both female and male?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We can't exempt the young men either because they go through it. We have, abusive women too, teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
They like to hit. Their first
Mm-hmm.
reaction is when they're arguing, they'll slap them, they'll punch them, they'll bite them. So
Yep.
absolutely, they can get out of the relationship. Sometimes for youth is for the teenager man is the embarrassing part, the shame of it, because they're gonna say, "Ah, I'm macho. How you getting?" But it is
Mm-hmm.
possible. I've seen it happen.
Me
Trust
too.
me. So
Me
they
too.
can get out of the relationship also.
Mm,
Me too. Yeah, and I just want to add on to that as well before I address James. What to tell you about James' question, especially for the teenagers, right? For the boys, because I can speak as being a teenager at one point. It's just that thing, and it's all cultural as well. That's like something you don't tell anybody that, right? Because then you're considered as a punk, a less
Yeah,
than a man, that type of thing. How you gonna let a woman, hit you, right? I mean, really? And there's so many different things. So psychologically, that boy is conditioned to basically hold it in and just deal with it, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to hit the woman back, but he gets caught like in a situation of like a catch 22. Like dang, dang if I do and dang if I don't. So what do I do? And then what happens after a while, he becomes conditioned to that. And if he doesn't have an outlet, right, then more times than not, he might go to drugs or
yeah,
something else a little bit more outlandish. And then people are looking at him like, what's wrong with him? Why he bugging out like that? Now realizing he had that so pent up, and it's been happening for such quite a long time, and it was a learned behavior because he just felt like trapped. and he just didn't know on who to turn to because he was afraid if he says something, then he'll be identified as all these different type of labels and things, in which it's definitely sad, and that can cause a suicide as well in a young
Absolutely.
man. Yeah,
And also to chime in, sometimes the young youth going through that can traumatize him, to the point that he might react from the pressure of being called a punk, and constantly being said that, oh, you let her. It'll build up to the point that one day she steps up to him, he actually will respond back, because there's so much you can take from your peers egging you on. So
absolutely,
it does happen.
absolutely. James had a great question. Francisca, in your professional opinion, what age should a young girl or boy start dating?
Ooh, good question. Ooh, listen, yeah, good question.
Trinity wants to say something. She got a time hour.
Before you answer that, I have something to say.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My dad always says a man should always treat a a woman like a queen because love shouldn't hurt.
Absolutely, I'm in agreement. Absolutely wonderful. You have a wonderful father and an
Definitely.
absolutely amazing mom. But well said.
And for me,
Definitely.
Well said.
my age limit is 18.
Thank you, Trinity, because you practically answered my question. I was like a military mom. So to be honest, yes, and I'm gonna answer it straight shooter on tonight.
Good.
I would say 18, I would say 18 or a little further than that. Because there's certain there's certain there's certain consequences factor when you start a little young and you start getting those emotions and stuff like that. There's a situation that happens, teenage pregnancy. Then
Yep.
you're a teenage mom
Right.
and you're still probably in eighth grade or high school. So I suggest 18, a little over. Finish your education first. That
College.
can come along later. Go on to
College.
high school and college. But I have to answer that question with so many honesty. If we do it under the age of 18, there's a risk of no knowledge of safe sex and stuff like that. And then we have the little belly bump. We have the it's not mine, or I can't take care of it. We don't have a job. You understand? So we got to keep it straight honest. 16, 15, you get her pregnant. Y'all both still in school. How is this child going to be taken care of? No job. So let's be honest. I would say 18 or a little over. Finish school first. Get a job.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead, chime in.
Okay. And this is Uncle Sean talking. I'm gonna go a little bit more further than that. I'm gonna say when you get your master's degree, yeah,
All right now.
yeah, yeah,
That's true.
yes, yes, Trinity, yes. When you get your master's degree
Yes.
in college,
Yes.
yes, yes.
There has to be a
Mm-hmm.
foundation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Masters. That's what Uncle Sean says, and I'm gonna drill him. I'm gonna drill him. Letting you know, I'm gonna drill him. He's gonna be like, okay, I don't know. Your uncle is kind of mean.
Yes. Because, I got to put it out there. It's a shame to see a 13 or 14-year-old already pregnant. So you
Right.
figure how they're going to take care of the baby. So let's
Exactly.
do some mindful decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What are some of the resources and how can we help you?
Mm.
Okay. Another good question. Well, they're powerful on tonight. What's the resources? Well, we have many. And since we're talking about the youth, there's so many. They have, and I researched this, they have a group counseling For anyone that has gotten out of a toxic relationship, there are group counseling for teenagers. Um, Other resources is the school guidance counselors. Um, there's other, since it's youth, there's a little span that there's not so much out there like for the adults, but because of whatever age range they're in, it's possible they can go into those slash youth adult group centers. Counseling is mainly what's out there. I would suggest, I wouldn't say that they would be out of the home because they're still teenagers, but I would suggest guidance counselors, group sessions that they have for the teenagers. There's a lot of them, out there. Mentorship, that big brother, big sister, they have that program when they need to take them out of the home and do a one-on-one. So there's some resources out there, not as many as for the adults.
I
I
would
was
love to. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Trini. Go ahead.
I was in the Big Brother Big Sister program.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
it's a
would
good outlet.
Yeah.
me personally. I would love to, man, be a part of that. Right, big brother, big sister. Because anybody that knows me, they know that I love kids, man. It's a special place in my heart for children, and I'm just one of those. I'll fight you and bite you, for the kids, you know.
Oh,
So it's when you have individuals that will abuse kids, right? And I'm not talking about like discipline. I'm not talking about hard love in a sense. I'm talking about straight discipline. I mean, straight abuse to the point where it's just you really have to question, right? It drives me crazy. It really, really drives me crazy because just like you mentioned earlier, they weren't asked to be here, right? And
okay.
so with that, if you're not ready, there's adoption agencies. There are individuals out here that can't have children and they would love to have children. So and that I can go on a tangent forever, but just know I have a special place in my heart for kids. I really, really do.
Same here. Same here. Because they're vulnerable.
Hmm. Indeed. Ma'am, host.
Yes. Well,
Give it up for Trinity, guys.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. That's all for tonight. Love you.
We got work on the outro for you, ma'am. Yeah, work on the outro. No, you just can't leave us like that. But we're gonna work on something. We're gonna work on something for you, man. We're gonna work on something. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, once again for James Bryan, also as well for your aunt Mandy Robertson. Thank you so much for tuning in, and also for everyone else as well. Dr. Gina Lloyd has entered the space. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please be on the lookout. There's going to be some more great things in store for Trinity Davis Floyd as well as Francesca Nunez. If you want to follow and get in contact with these individuals, please feel free to shoot them a direct message to find out more as far as on how you can support as far as their cause because they're doing a lot in their respective areas and it's just a beautiful thing to see. And so with that, Trinity, now you can close, ma'am.
Oh, love too.
All right. Much love. Much love.
We have to.